You're going to love this one. You're going to love this one. You're going to love this one, okay? Now, I, I made, I've made several YouTubes about the infinite nature of Yahweh and what it means to us. And I add to that prophecy. Prophecy meaning we're told what's coming. We're told what's coming. God already knows. And I have deduced and submitted to smart people. Hey, does everything affect everything else as far as the future is concerned? Does what I do today, what others do today, affect the future of everybody? Yep, yep, yep. Listen, yep. So if that's the case, in order for there to be a perfect alignment of prophecy with a specific result, then doesn't the infinite have to control everything in order to achieve that prophecy? If anybody was off key or off script, then prophecy wouldn't work, wouldn't happen. So I have to deduce that God, everything, my thoughts. Let me talk about my thoughts, even thoughts, and interconnectedness. And I kept going. What's going on? Is it true? Can it be true? Can it be true that everything moving forward that I do, that you do, that we do, is all controlled by God in order to achieve His end? So I looked at my own life, 2 examples. I shared these with Susan last night. Wicked, wild interconnectedness. I shared how important positive reinforcement is. And when I was 20 years old, the guy came in a pizza shop and he gave me a compliment. And he said I should go to the restaurant business. And that stranger, complete stranger, who knew, where did he get that thought? Changed my life. Watch, because I did go to the restaurant business because of that stranger. And I met a wife that, history, 36 years marriage. And the owner, well, she was in the restaurant for the owner that I worked for. Okay. And that wife that I would have never met had I not got into the restaurant business introduced me to Queen Boaz. So none of Queen Boaz's, which has changed my entire life and others too, I might add. But let's go to the one that's really wacky and brings me to the Honorable Rabbi Yosef Edry, who I hope watches this. In 1997, I started a international telecom business called Callback. You exported a U.S. dial tone, no Skype back then. And I was in an office, and 5 years before that, I had met a guy in the used car industry. I liked him, he liked me. 5 years earlier. And I was in the telecom business, and we had a bunch of not Saudis, Middle Easterners. They hacked our switch and stole a lot of money. They put me out of business. They put us out of business. And at that exact same time, that used car sales guy that I knew 5 years ago, out of nowhere, calls me. Says, "Hey, what you doing? How's it going?" I told him, I said, "No call back, but it just got hacked." And he was now working for a callback company that ended up buying me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But where I sat in an office was across the hall from a barter company. This was 1997, where I was introduced to the owner and the brokers, and I learned about barter in an office across the hall. So one guy I hadn't seen for 5 years appears out of nowhere, helps the hell out of me. The place I have my office is about to be gone. Embarrassing. Oof. I meet the barter owner and I move on for, for 5 years, another 5 years, so 10 years. And I lose a position because I'm too good. Maryland water specialist. The owner said, actually, I didn't feel good at my own business. Everybody loved Dave. So I was out of a job looking for something close to home. And I look in the paper and I see the barter company that I'm aware of from 5 years earlier is looking for help. I go in for an interview, and Amy, one of the brokers, interviews me, and I know, at least I feel I did a pretty good job. And I think she called back and said, "Hey, you got the job?" And I said, "Nah, it's not enough money." Because it wasn't, I thought. But then the owner called me, Lowell Curtis, 70 years old. Him and his wife built the business, largest in D.C., house off the Potomac. He calls me, says, "Dave, come on, man. I know this sounds nice, but I think he says, but you got trade dollars, bonuses and trade dollars. Come on." So I did. I came on. Whole new industry. Here we go. Get on the phone, bruh. Barter, trade, big business. You believe that? I do. So I told you the story what happened. Members in barter companies get stuck. Well, usually premium members, like the nat gas company or the propane company that the owner was using, that wanted to quit because they had 20,000 trade dollars. They wanted to quit. And that sent me on a journey of how can I help these poor people being ripped off. That's all I know how to do. Help people. And I ran a circuit. I went to a pawn shop that was in the exchange. He sells gold and silver. "Hey, Lee, can I buy that with trade dollars?" Yep. Then I went to the coin shop. Who buys gold and silver? 3% discount. And I could have just saved that $20,000. I could have made it $20,000 liquid. And I was so excited about it. And I went to the owner and to share with him I'd solved the problem. And he shut the door and he chewed my ass because I didn't know that barter owners print their own money, and their average one has $1 million they printed, like the Federal Reserve. But it gets weirder, man. This was 2003. May 5th, I met this guy that called in 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after I had that beautiful, ingenious way to help a customer. Well, I had a CIA banker call me with the same idea, but on a much, much larger scale. Now, is that coincidence? Is that coincidence, or is everything connected? And then after meeting the architect of this, a 10-year journey that I thought that was it. This would be the toughest thing I've ever done. Nah. People died, money wasted, corruption, fraud. Nobody could start it. Just unbelievable. But I kept on to it. And in the fullness of time, 20 years go by. 20 years, another 20 years. No, 10 more years go by. And I meet a rabbi. And you know the rest of the story. Coincidence? Is God in control? I'd say he is. I live that he is, negative included. Watch out now. Watch out now.